Guess what time it is?
Is it time to
Ah!
torture and pain
Like
and sadness?
like Transylvania. Not Hotel Transylvania, not that.
I was about to say, there's a game with Adam Sandler in it, and I
No.
haven't heard about this.
No. There's a movie with Adam Sandler in it called Pixels that tried to,
Don't talk about that movie.
Okay.
It took Hubert and just... You know what I have to do every night because of that movie? I have to look at Hubert as he's crying in the corner and go, "It's okay. Adam Sandler won't try to make you change your sex again.
You gotta
it's
go.
okay."
You gotta go. It's okay. You and Wreck-It Ralph. It's all right. Yeah.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, but today I know it's been quite a while since it's been out for a minute, but the DLC hasn't really, sorta. I wanted to talk about Bloodborne today.
Since I got to talk about Shovel Knight because of the DLC, I let you have the pass to talk about Bloodborne because of all the DLC. Is it all out now, or is there more coming?
I don't know if there's more coming or not. This DLC is definitely worth the $20.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. So, what questions do you have?
Well, I don't have a lot.
With the entire game itself and the DLC, because I'll talk about it.
Well, I mean, to me, it looks like Dark Souls with the gothic paint over.
Yeah.
Very
dark palettes in the game, but it makes it look beautiful. It's not like bland or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have problems with you can't see stuff?
Yes, and that was on purpose.
Okay.
That was definitely on purpose.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's not like Saw, like the Saw games you made for the PS3, where it's dark the whole time. You have to turn the contrast up to your TV just to see it.
Oh no! This is on purpose. This
Okay.
is definitely meant to be like that.
Okay.
Because they try to blend the enemies into the environment so you can't see them because they're pricks.
Ew.
Yes.
Well, I mean, From Software,
No, you don't, Alex. You don't understand because you haven't played it. When I tell you they blend the enemies into the environment, they blend.
I totally get it because that's exactly this type of crap that this studio likes to pull.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put this out there for everyone. I've never liked this, like Dark Souls, these type of games.
Because please inform everybody you don't like this great, fantastic game that came out.
It's a whole problem with the idea of that when a game is hard, I don't have a problem with the game being hard. I don't. But when a game is hard, to me, it needs to let you learn the mechanics in the world properly enough, so that way, whenever you die, or when it does get hard, you don't blame the game, you blame yourself. You say, okay, that was on me. At least from what I played at Dark Souls, is that it literally drops you in the world, kicks you in the nuts, and goes, "It's your fault."
But see, I have a kind of argument to that. The game wants you to learn from dying and to learn from learning how to react to the choreographed movements of the enemies.
Right.
So no, let me finish this before you you say, well, you want the game to let you learn from it. And to ease up a little bit.
To teach you the mechanics at first.
Exactly. It wants you to learn the mechanics. It doesn't want to hold your hand and then let you do it yourself. It wants you to let you do it yourself, give you subtle hints here and there. And then you work from there and you progress and then you get to the point where you die. If you die from something, you know it's your fault. Because you're like, well, I knew he was going to do that attack because I've seen it a dozen times before. That's why they recycle some enemies and they have the same moveset. Because, when they swing at you, they have specific attacks that you can learn to dodge and stuff like that. And then they'll add in a couple new enemies that you don't know about, but then you learn from that as well. So it's like Groundhog Day. so you know what I mean?
I keep dying. What do I have to do? See, I get that whole argument because people have made that argument to me, and I get that. But at the same time, it's just a personal preference. That's not as fun to me because I don't look at myself and say, well, it's my fault. If I learn the game, everything that the game the base of what the game has to offer me, and then as I go along, it gets gradually harder.
Well, it does.
If a game does that, then I enjoy it more. My problem with these games is that it literally just drops you in the world, and you're right. It says, you have to learn everything. You have to figure out everything.
Well, see, and I think your problem is that you haven't played the very first game like this was Demon Souls.
Right. I didn't play Demon Souls.
Exactly. So you dropped yourself into an environment that you were not used to and you didn't like it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I think you knew that Dark Souls was not like an indirect sequel to Demon Souls.
I knew it was going to be hard.
But I mean, like, that's the whole point of, like, you know, games like that. You have to push yourself through it, and then you get used to it. And I feel like you're not used to games like that. You don't push yourself through hard games like this to where you're like, okay, well, I died like this, and now I know I can die like this, so I know not to, I know to avoid that.
Super Meat Boy Binding of Isaac.
Well,
I just do it on a different plane. I don't like it when it's like a hack and slash like this. Platformers, I'm more okay with it because they're simplistic in their game mechanics.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean?
With something like this, where it is like, there's a ton to it. Like, there's a ton that if you don't play games often like this, there should be something on the developer to at least say, here's how everything works, now go. If it's hard from that point, that's fine. Because then the game can at least, like, the player learns. But it's literally, they don't tell you jack.
Well, the point being is that if you eventually do die too much, they're like, well, here's, what they in the game they call a beckoning bell. To where you can have other players, help you to defeat the bosses. You can have up to 2 players help you. And let me tell you when that makes a difference. That makes a hell of a difference. Let me tell you.
Is that just in this game, or is that in all of them?
That's all of them.
Okay.
Yeah. But they were called different things.
I was going to say, I never ran into that.
Dark Souls, it was called like a summoning paper or whatever it was. It was like really weird. But, some games do that. If you die too much, well, they give you like a hint, like, hey, this is what you need to do. Or here's this to help you, through this portion of the game. Mm-hmm. Well, this game, it's like, well, here's this to help you through all of the game. Here's this beckoning bell.
Right.
Like, this game, that's what I like primarily about this game, is because it doesn't hold your hand. You have to learn.
Right.
You have to, like, from the beginning, you have to learn everything.
Right.
And then once you do it, let me tell you that you feel so accomplished when you beat a boss by yourself, but even with one other person, but you learn from the mistakes of the past. You're like, yes, finally.
See, I've heard that argument too, and I offer this counter argument. When I did that in the first one, when I did finally beat the first boss, I was just like, I didn't feel accomplished. I was like, that was tedious. That was so tedious.
See, I don't see, like, I don't understand, because it's tedious, yes, but I mean, it's like I said, it's just like it's repeating the process to try to better yourself. And not only that, you think that's annoying, try facing other people.
Oh, I'm sure that's 10 times worse.
Yes.
I feel like actually facing the other people would probably be more fun to me because they would be unpredictable.
Yeah. I mean, until you get used to but that's even the same way, because they limit they restrict the player's movements, so what the opposing character can do.
Right.
The only thing that's unpredictable is what's in their inventory.
Right.
That's it. So it's the same thing. It's like, oh, a hunter's evading my dream. I wonder what weapon he has, and then you learn all the weapons and what they do, and you're like, oh, well, he has this weapon, so I know what to do to avoid it. Mm-hmm. It's the same. It's the same thing.
It would be great to see these guys do a multiplayer only game. Like, just straight up, like, here's an arena, you all go at it.
Well, see, but this game has that in there too.
Yeah.
There's an arena. But anyway, we kind of, tempered off from that.
Well, not too much, because I mean, the thing with From Software is that all their games, mechanic-wise, are primarily the same.
Yeah, but there's a different lore to it.
There's subtle differences.
I wouldn't even say so. This game, when it comes to its lore, it has a lot of differences to it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the gameplay mechanics and all that, yes, it's the same.
Mm-hmm.
But this game's lore is probably the most effed up I've ever seen of their games.
See, that was the other thing that interests me, because, I remember the story of Dark Souls, it just didn't really interest me at all. Because it was so, the world is just destroyed, and everything's screwed, and isn't everything just negative? I'm like, why do I have any motivation to play through this?
Well, there's more to it than that, but...
Right, no, yeah. I know. But, with this, it's like, well, you are establishing this is a living world now, at least, so There's some stakes.
There's a whole bunch of theories. That's a living world, but this game, just like Dark Souls 1, 2, Demon Souls, different lore. It improves on certain mechanics. But what I mean by that is that it's more accurate with its hit, with its hit point.
Oh, thank God!
And it's it's visceral attacks, which do massive, they do a massive amount of damage to your enemy. The only thing that they haven't fixed is the lag, and I feel like they did that on purpose too.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, that and they made it easier to kind of defeat bosses, because Dark Souls 2, the thing about it is that bosses have certain weaknesses, yes, but they also had a lot more defenses to what you had. And this, there's only 5 types of defenses that you can have. It's arcane, which is magic, bolt, which is lightning, fire, and poison, and then frenzy. So yeah, and blood tinge, so make it 6. But I mean, you start to learn that arcane is weak against blood tinge, and physical attacks are weak against everything. And they made it more understandable what the weaknesses of the bosses and stuff are, because you learn throughout the game. The game's hard.
Well, I wouldn't expect anything less from this studio.
Yeah.
If they made an easy game, I'd give them Game of the Year just for going outside their comfort zone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this game's hard, but
actually, I would laugh really hard if they did an easy game. I would just give it 10 out of 10 just to see Dark Souls fans who love how hard it is just lose their minds.
Honestly, I wouldn't care if it was easy. I'd be like, hey, it's kind of a change,
I have to punch my own self in the wiener. God!
No, but
now I want that.
punch your own self in the wiener.
No, I want an easy From Software game.
I
know it'll never happen, but that would be hysterical.
Yeah, it would.
From Software's next game, My Little Pony.
Extreme Edition, where you have to kill all the ponies and they're their bosses. And
you and all your wonderful ponies go against the 4 ponies of the apocalypse.
Yeah. No, they like I said, everything's the same, the leveling up system, but the leveling up system, again, you have to learn from that to where certain weapons level up with you as long as you put the right points into the skill.
Okay, so kind of like an RPG.
Yes.
Okay.
So, which it is an RPG, but
well, yeah.
But yes, so you, like I said, you have, when it comes to leveling up, you have your physical, you have your vitality, your endurance, your arcane, your blood tinge, your skill, and your strength. Those are 6 attributes you have. And depending on what, how many points, besides vitality and endurance, because everybody needs that, that's the universal thing. But besides those, it determines how much damage you do with a weapon.
Right.
Or if you can carry it. Typical From Software BS. But there's certain builds that are more difficult to achieve than others. They made it more prominent in this than I feel like in any other From Software game. Oh God, I don't know. I can talk so much about this game.
Okay, well you covered the main mechanics.
Yeah, I covered primarily all the main mechanics. Yes.
Graphics good,
beautiful. Yeah.
Although I noticed whenever you were showing me it earlier, faces are a little muddy.
Yeah, well, I've told you that it's always been like that for every Souls,
which is weird,
and Bloodborne game. They focus more on the environment, the lore, and the outfits that the appearance of your character. But they totally discard the facial palettes and all that because they don't feel like it's that important. Which it's not, because primarily the time you're wearing some sort of face cover or facial mask.
Yeah, you're pulling a Tom Hardy.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's another character I might make in this game. Tom Hardy.
Or Mad Max.
Or Mad Max, yeah. Or him from The Revenant.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
He just goes around to all the monsters, I'm trying to think of a joke. I can't think of one. Without, within the parameters of, us not swearing.
The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. No, but,
And I take it the way your Native American son. Why? Well, cuz.
Because he's gonna blow. He's gonna kill all of us.
Right.
Basically. Oh. All right. No, that's not how this works. But yeah, that's all good and dandy, and the facial palettes you can totally excuse.
Okay.
Now, on to the DLC.
Now, before we move to the DLC, I have to ask this because everyone that I know is obsessed with Dark Souls in these games, whenever I ask them this question, they always get in my face and say, nothing's wrong with it. What's wrong with it? Is there anything bad about the game?
Yeah. Actually, there is. But it's hard, it's hard to find bad things because you're used to it from the Souls games. So they didn't really change anything, but there are some glitches that I've seen.
Okay.
Like, for example, I don't know if I'm allowed to say these YouTube providers, or not providers, but channels. Probably.
Yeah, you're allowed.
The Game Grumps. I watched Aaron play Bloodborne, and he was facing the cleric beast, which I never had a problem with this, but he did. He got stuck while facing this boss. He got stuck in a corner.
So there are glitches.
Yes, and he couldn't move. But that's the only one I've ever seen in this game.
Okay.
And the cleric beast just killed him, just without any mercy, and you couldn't get out of it. So that's like really the only thing I've seen. But when it comes to like finding something bad about this game, it's like you already know what's bad, but you get used to it. So you're like, it's not really that bad.
Okay, care to elaborate? Because whenever, like I said, whenever I ask fans of From Software games, could you criticize the game? They're like, there's nothing wrong with the game.
Well, it's not that there's nothing wrong with the game. It's just the fact that, like, it's like when you go into it at first, you're like, okay, well, because every other game you've ever played, it's had some sort of difficulty, but not to the extent of From Software games.
Right.
Sorry, I was about to burp. Anyway, so you go into it first, and then, like, you see how hard it is. Of course you're going to have problems with the game. Problems with the game. I was like, oh, he shouldn't have killed me. Oh, this is BS. He shouldn't have lunged that far. Blah, blah, blah. You're always going to have problems like that.
Well, yeah, like, stuff like that. But I'm glad you brought up, like, there was a bug you found. Like, frame rate issues.
Yeah, they do get bad. Especially, I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a frame rate issue in one of the levels where there's fog.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're walking through the fog, and you're fighting people, and the frame rate just drops. Which, it makes it, like, easy to predict the enemy's movements, because their frame, they drop too, so they're like, yeah, you're like, okay, jump backwards.
Texture pop-ins?
Yes, only when you come out of helping somebody with their boss.
Okay.
Because
so it's when you get off online. That makes sense.
So when you'll see that the textures haven't popped in. It's still smooth, like a very smooth and muddy surface.
Okay.
When it comes to
all right, that makes sense.
some parts of the environment, yes.
Okay. Like I did want to ask you that because that literally does happen all the time. Whenever I ask people, like they're like, "It's the most amazing game ever." I'm like, "There's got to be something to it." They're like, "There's nothing wrong with it."
No, it has its moments.
I'm like, "All right, calm down there, buddy."
But it's one of those very few games to where that really doesn't have any issues, so you can't really blame the game for screwing you over.
Right.
So, you will obviously, but it's ultimately your fault.
Yeah.
Any more questions about the base game?
Not really. I mean, the DLC, how much does it add to it is my question.
There's
You, like, 5 bosses, you said?
around 5 bosses. But there's
How many hours did it take you?
Hour-wise, I would say about 15.
Okay, that's fair.
It's pretty good for a DLC.
Yeah.
Most games are only 4 hours.
Or in Batman Arkham Knight's case, 30 minutes.
Yeah. No, but
Even though I love that game,
I like it a lot too.
The DLC for that game is poop.
Yeah. Which they put it in installments, but whatever.
For $40.
Yeah. It's just as hard as the base game, but they added a whole bunch of new enemies. So
Okay.
it's like learning the game all over again.
Okay.
Basically. I don't know, you think you might be this all-powerful, like, dude by the time you get the DLC. Trust me, you're not. Because the DLC scales with you.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if you're, like, almost about to be a gamer, you're almighty. You go into what's called the Hunter's Nightmare. That should, be said enough alone. It's called Hunter's Nightmare. They're right there alongside with you, killing you. So.
Okay, so what would you give it grade-wise?
Well, first of all, DLC adds a lot more understanding to the lore. I'm going to say that.
Okay.
The last boss Alex saw me fight once. It was a pain in the butt. An A.
A?
Yeah, only because. Oh, okay, an A for Souls fans, definitely.
Okay.
But for people who have not experienced the game yet, and I'm trying to be on their side with this too. I'm trying to work both sides.
Yeah.
For you. For people who haven't played like Demon's Souls and stuff, I would say I would give it like a B minus.
Okay.
Only because you're not used to it, so you're going to get frustrated. You're going to get peed off.
Well, clearly.
Yeah. So, for me as a fan, an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to find our other reviews, you can go to Tanooki.com, post-game show. We have playlists on YouTube under our channel at Tanooki. They're all in one playlist. He's Trevon at Twitter.
Sphincter 2.
And I am at Had Gamer on Twitter.
And Facebook. Oh, not Facebook.
No, not Facebook. Tumblr.
Tumblr. Yeah, Tumblr. Yeah.
And Instagram.
I forgot you had an Instagram.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that must be fun.
Oh, I take stupid pictures of video games on there all the time. And Vine. I do make whenever I'm recording stuff.
I've seen them.
I tend to do Vines whenever I'm recording stuff and I find something really funny. So I think that's it. I'm glad you didn't give it an A+, but I'm afraid for you because I know the hardcore From Software fans are going to be like, this game is perfect! You were supposed to give it an A+, how can you like any game more?
That's because it's like
Stockholm Syndrome.
I feel like the kid that ruined the plot to Star Wars and then got beat up by the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. I think that's another reason why this series has been so soured for me is because their fans are just such full of themselves, egotistical maniacs.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, we beat the game, that means we're gaming gods. I'm like, congratulations, you want a cookie for kicking yourself in the nuts for 3 hours straight?
Yeah. Well, shame on you guys for thinking it's perfect, because it's not.
Yeah. I had a kid once try to argue me that Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls was a more all-around better game than Bioshock Infinite was.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
That's like comparing apples and oranges.
I know, and this kid didn't get that. He's just like, that game is so easy, it's for babies. I'm like...
You don't say.
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And then, it got even better, because he was just like, there's no weapon variety or gameplay variety. I was like, what does Dark Souls have?
Difficulty.
He was just like, there's no weapon variety. I was like, you have 8 weapons, and you can make each of those weapons new weapons with your vigors. He's like, what are vigors? I was like,
yeah, well, that's like I said, it's comparing apples and oranges.
Right.
You can't do that.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm Lehu. I'll be reviewing next week.
I'm Trey. I'll be there asking him questions about the games he's played.
Alright.
See you guys later. He didn't say bye because he's a poop head.
I was going to say bye,
But
you beat me to it.
So, okay. He says bye. Bye, everybody.